Hi, I'm Pawel, pmakesgames, and I'm gonna show you how to teleport the player to an item you click on. This is going to be a base for the future episodes, in which we are going to add smooth movement and animations. Let's go to the main camera and let's hide components we don't need now. This will be camera and pixel perfect camera. Click this add component button and let's think about the name for the component. Let's go with click manager. This game component could be in any game object, even a newly created one. The only thing we need to care about is to make sure that this game object will be easy to find and it won't be deleted during the game. The main camera is just what we need. Of course, we could create a new game object called game manager or something like that and put the new component over there, but we may as well stay with the main camera because it doesn't really matter for that little game. Now double click on this new script, and we don't need those two functions, so let's delete them. Now let's quickly write a test function and then call it somehow. Create a public void click correction, and inside it let's write Debug.Log, let's say test. This message will be visible in our Unity's console. Now we're gonna add something to the game to click on and call this new function. Create a new image which is in the UI section. This way we will create a canvas and the event system too, and we don't need event system, so let's hide it inside the main camera. Now let's click on the canvas and change its render mode to world space to make it easier to move elements. And we need a event camera, and because we have only one camera, just drag and drop it there. Now let's change the canvas width and height, reset its position and do the same with the image. And that way we get a tiny white square in the middle. Wow. Now let's change its color, and to be precise it's alpha. So we will make it a little bit transparent. And let's say we want a value of 128. Now let's change its color to something greenish, and I think that's fine. Now using move tool, let's move this square over the plant and let's change its size. Or maybe let's use a rect tool for that. We don't need to care about those numbers, so let's leave them ugly. Now we will need a new component for our image, and it will be event trigger. Here we need a new event and its type is pointer click. Let's click this little plus icon and we will put main camera over here. And now we will look for its click reaction function. Now let's enter the play mode and click on this rectangle. As you can see, we have a test message, which is great. Now it's a good idea to hide this rectangle. Of course, we will be still able to click it. The other thing is that we don't know what we've just clicked on, so we need to give it a good name. Let's go with plant image, or maybe even with plant UI image. Alright, to teleport our player to this plant, we will need a new game component. While the plant is selected, let's use add component button and let's write something descriptive for our new script. For example, item data. That's the name of the script which will store everything related to items. For now we only need to store the point where the player has to be in order to inspect an item or something. So let's create a transform go to point. And it needs to be public to be visible in Unity editor. Now let's go to the click manager class, and here we need to grab our player somehow. So let's create a new public variable, and I think we need a transform because we will change the position of the player, and let's name it player. In this function we will simply change the player's position to what? It would be smart to grab this item data and use it as an argument of the function. Let's simply call it item. And now we will change player's position to item's go-to-point position. Now let's go back to Unity and let's click on the main camera to tell our click manager what the player is. Simply grab the player and drop it here. And before we go any further, let's rename this function to go-to-item. Now it's more informative. Now let's go to our image, and because our old function is gone, let's find a new one. And we are missing a item data, so let's drag and drop this plant over here. Now select the plant with the right mouse button and create a new empty game object to create a child object there. And rename it to go-to-point. Now let's switch to the scene view, use move tool, and move this go-to-point somewhere over there. And of course we will need to go to the plant and use go-to-point. And as we play the game, we may click this plant and the player will teleport, of course, but she's in the wrong position. Let's go to the scene view and let me show you something. She has her pivot over there, not under her feet, and that's exactly the point where our go-to-point is, so everything is correct here. And to make her stand on this go-to-point, we could change the pivot of every sprite here, but it will be a lot of work, of course, so let's just revert it. We don't even need to open up a sprite editor, so you may forget this step. And the best solution would be to simply make this player a child object of another object. So let's create a new object, let's name it player. Rename our old player to player body. Now let's make the player body a child object of the player. And let's move it on the top. Now the player in the click manager is broken, so let's fix it. And let's reset the position of our player body because we want it to be in the center of the player. Now we don't need to care about where the pivot is because we can always move the player's body, which is a child object of the game object we actually move. Now we may hit play and it looks like we've achieved nothing, but we may select go to point and primitively use our fingers to keep in mind where the go to point is, or just use this icon and select player body and move it up until we reach this position. Alright, let's copy this value, remove this icon, exit play mode, and we'll need to paste the value of our player's body position. Move the player a little bit down and pay close attention to which one you choose. And we are ready to go. At least we would, if not this one problem with layering. Our fire is way bigger than it is in reality, and the player needs to have her feet under this square. We could try doing something with those sprites, but we will have a mess really fast. As you remember, the pixel perfect camera we used in this game doesn't like when we change the size of a sprite. In any other situation this would be fine. Alright, to quickly fix this, let's just change our background ordering layer to -3, our fireplace to -2, and our fire to -1. In this game, those objects will be always behind the player, so we can leave it as it is. Alright, now as we play the game, we can click on the item and teleport to it. Good job, everyone! In the next episode, we are going to make it possible to collect items. This feature will stay very primitive for a while, but hey, it's better than nothing. And in the episode after that one, we will be moving our player smoothly. Have a good day and see you soon!